Pronto presenta.
Pronto, Randy, and welcome everyone to our third episode. How awesome is this? Third episode of our lifestyle podcast, where we are excited to talk about all of the beautiful things life has to offer: fashion, self-care, memories, current events, just wonderful stories that we can share. Yes, the list goes on. And we're so excited that everyone is tuning in and have been following us. I've noticed that we've had a little, following, right? Yeah. Actually, it's more than a little following. Yeah. I noticed that Curly Hair, Skin and Nails has a really great following. And it's always so nice that we have so many of your customers have been tuning in to support. So I love that.
Yeah, we have a loyal fan base.
Yes, I can tell. So you've been very busy. I know that you've been maybe traveling a little bit here and there.
I have a tradition. I take my kids camping and fishing every year, and we just got back. It's quite a different from lifestyle beauty.
Right. But you are so well traveled. And I think that resonates in your business, is because when you're well traveled, you're able to take those life experiences and I guess you would say incorporate that into the business. Yeah. It's almost like brainstorming ideas. Yeah. And every time you travel somewhere, you're always being inspired. Yeah. And that's why I think it's good to be well traveled.
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective of lifestyles, really.
Exactly. And by the way, you look very dashing today. I don't know if you can see, Randy always looks so handsome, but I don't know if you could see that he has on a very nice suit. Would you say it's like a light pink?
Yes,
light pink. Very nice. I right away I was like, wow, Randy, you're really stepping it up for these podcasts.
I wore this for the guests.
Right, exactly. And that's what it's all about, our guests that we have. So before we talk about our guests, which I'm so excited to have our guest on today, because I actually know her very, very well. So I was so excited that she'll be joining us today. I wanted to share with all of our listeners, and I'm sure they probably do know that I'm the director of the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA organization. But my two title holders, Grace Lang, Miss Delaware USA, and my teen title holder, Miss Delaware Teen USA, Ava McMurray, are getting ready for the national competition in just a few weeks. Wow. So they will be leaving for Reno, Nevada, to compete for the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA competition. Yes, so they're gearing up. There's Grace. Doesn't she look phenomenal?
She's beautiful.
This photo. Oh my gosh, this photo. Yeah, both of my title holders have been practicing and preparing diligently, making sure that they have their wardrobe in place and making sure that all of their competition wear and their hair everything is all coming together. But what do you think, Randy? Doesn't Grace look so good? Yeah. Like, look at her hair. I love her hair.
Hairdresser, I really appreciate the color, like the gowns and the hair, like the perfect colors, like blue and green for red.
Right. I have fantastic. Such an appreciation of the colors that we see. Like they complement each other so well with that strawberry blonde. Right. Like it just has like just a hint of that, almost like hint of red, but it's just so well, especially with that blue. Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you, Freddie Fashion. Grace does look amazing. And she's been working so hard every single day. She is just naturally a hard worker, very, very smart. She's at Penn Law. She's so dedicated to everything she puts her mind to. She's very driven. She's an athlete at heart because she went to Villanova for basketball, and she has a very strong mentality and a very, very strong athletic mentality. But here's Ava, Miss Delaware Teen USA, Ava McMurray. This is her headshot. She's also getting ready. She is actually at University of Tennessee. She just left for Tennessee for college. So she graduated high school and she went off to college, but she's still preparing for the Miss Teen USA competition. And isn't she just darling?
Beautiful.
Right? Beautiful. Isn't she so I have to mention and give credit to Curly Hair, Skin and Nails, because they have partnered with the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA organization as official sponsors. And they have helped so much. A shout out to Brandon Wilson.
Yeah.
He is incredible. He's a stylist at Curry Hair, Skin and Nails. He has been helping Ava with her hair care. And as you can see in this photo right here, actually, this is a perfect photo. Oh, even this one's better. He has helped Ava achieve her hair goals, just enhancing her hair color, her cut, her dimension, making sure she has just the right amount of hair that's not overwhelming, but just will enhance all of her beauty for the big stage. Right, Randy? Can you tell?
Look at the smile.
Mm-hmm.
The smile is dynamic.
Oh, yes.
The hair color just has enough depth to highlight the blonde, but not wash her out. So it's beautiful job.
Exactly. And when I was explaining to Randy about Ava's hair care and making sure that we achieve the right hair color, and even for Grace as well, speaking with her hairstylist, we always have to take into consideration the stage lights, because they're very bright stage lights when they get to nationals. Everyday lighting is their hair looks amazing, but once you hit that stage under those bright stage lights, it changes everything. So just making sure that their hair color translates well on stage, under the stage lights, on camera, especially with their gorgeous wardrobe that they'll be showcasing throughout the competition. Oh my gosh, look at this photo. Isn't this so Ava, both my title holders. This is Ava, my teen title holder, but both of my title holders are actually 5'11". And I thought I was tall. I'm 5'8". And I thought I was tall. So it was so funny. We were practicing in the studio. We were practicing walking and on-stage presentation. And Ava put on her heels, and I was wearing flip-flops that day. And I said, Ava, oh my goodness, look at this. And I took a photo, and we were just laughing so hard. So I posted it, and so many people were commenting about, oh my gosh, your teen title holder is so tall. I said, I know, but she looks extra tall next. And I thought I was tall, but she looks extra tall in this photo. But she's so sweet, so sweet and humble. Both of my title holders are, and they're just working so hard to get ready for the national competition. And I have to mention, I wish them so much luck, and I'm so proud of them, Randy.
You should be. I know all their work that you put it in, training, walking. Tell us a little about it.
Oh, yes. Okay. So there's 3 phases of competition. There, for the Miss division, there's the evening gown, the private interview, and the fitness. And then for the teen division, there's also 3 phases of competition: fitness, evening gown, and private interview, all equally scored. So they're preparing, they're getting their wardrobe settled in, and then they're also making sure that they're practicing their interview skills, their walking skills, and making sure that they feel confident and comfortable with how they style their hair and how they put on their makeup application, because you always have to stay ready. I'm a firm believer in that. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So I always train my title holders to know how to do it all, in a sense. Know how to do your makeup, know how to style your hair, know how to dress yourself, because you can't rely on anybody else. You have to be very independent when you compete in any pageant, because it's also it's a confidence booster that you know that you don't have to rely on anybody else. So they've been practicing and getting ready, and I feel that they're ready. They can compete tomorrow. That's how ready. I mean, they're so ready to go. So again, very, very proud of them.
I don't think they need any help when it comes to beauty.
Yes. But I have to say this: they are absolutely beautiful, but they're beautiful inside and out.
Yeah, that's important.
I really, both of my title holders, I'm very, very fortunate, have such kind hearts.
Wow.
And that's something that I always am grateful for. I'm grateful for every time I meet a title holder that they have a genuine, authentic, kind heart, and they both do. So shout out to Grace and Ava, and we wish you lots of luck. Maybe they should come on the show soon, right?
Yeah, after their title.
Yes, or maybe right before. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what we can do. But I have something else I want to mention. I know that this is not a part of the show, but it could be a part of the show, right? So when I walked in today, Randy hands me this box. Okay, I don't know if you could see it. But it says Italian Kiss. Right up my alley, obviously. It's hydrating lip balm. It's by Carello by Curry. And this is his new hydrating lip balm. So I was handed this. So is this fresh?
Yeah, it's
on
fresh
the
off
shelf?
The ship.
Really? So fresh off the ship onto the shelves of all Curry Hair, Skin and Nail locations now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. So if you haven't had a chance, check this out. I am I love lip balm. I think it's really important to always make sure your skin is hydrated, but we sometimes forget our lip care. And I think it's just
Yeah,
as important.
all natural and really top flight uh, ingredients.
I'll give it a try. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Right over my lipstick. Sometimes I do that. I don't know if anybody else does that. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of lip balm before putting on lipstick, but very little, just because when I'm maybe on television or I'm interviewing someone, I get dehydrated quickly. So I'm always trying to replenish with drinking water, but sometimes my lips get very dry. And so I always put a little bit of lip balm before I put on my lipstick or after, just a little, not a lot, because I don't want to compromise the color of the lipstick.
Yeah.
So I will add this Italian kiss to my everyday wear. So make sure you check it out. I'm very excited about this. But why
What
don't
did
you?
you think of the flavor?
So I don't know if I can taste it with my lipstick, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah, it's really light.
It's light.
It's like flowery.
Right. And I do like the what is the scent that you use? Do you know if it's like a lavender?
No,
A s-
I think it's like a special flower that
Mm.
grows in Italy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Yeah.
so you do carry the Carello by Curry line
Yeah.
at all of your locations. So why don't you share with our viewers a little bit about the line if they're interested, because you do have many other products as well.
Corella is partly organic line and partly unorganic.
Mm-hmm.
The organic is shampoos and conditioners, and there's mostly lavender and olive oil. And I don't know if people know, but lavender is really calms down the skin. If you have redness, the your scalp, lavender will calm it down. And olive oil they've been using for 5,000 years, so it's good combination. But the science behind it, it's not just like pouring olive oil in the shampoo. So the science behind it's there's no bad ingredients, all natural. It could be organic, but we haven't had it certified, so it's really good shampoo.
Excellent. Excellent. No, I've had the opportunity to test out the anti-aging cream, which I love. It does have lavender and olive oil in that, and I love it.
Number one seller in the salons.
Well, I'll definitely check it out. It's offered at all of his salons, but I had the opportunity to test it out and I am a fan. So I'm hooked. Thank you, Randy. But anyway, enough about us. Let's talk about our special guest. So I know, super excited about. So we are excited to welcome our guest today. Patricia Mae Maristch is the owner of Peaked PR, the host of the Preppy podcast, and a lifestyle influencer. She loves to decorate colorfully, entertain in style, and enjoy a glass of bubbles. She is a graduate from Immaculata University with a degree in communications and fashion merchandising and a passion in entrepreneurship. She has spoken at many conferences on PR and business and has even been featured on Fox 29. I love this photo. I love this photo of her in Mainline and in even Mainline Today and more. We are so excited to welcome Patricia.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. How are you, Patricia?
Good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Of course. You look amazing. Well, you really dressed the part.
I know. I'm very on brand with my blue and white.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're so excited to have you on Pronto podcast and for our third episode. So for those of you who don't know, I actually have had the opportunity to know Patricia for a long time. I figured I'd give a little background because everyone has to feel my enthusiasm at this point. So Patricia and I actually met at Mainline Fashion Week. So I was a model for Mainline Fashion Week, and it was in like 2014. I was actually Miss Delaware United States in 2014. And I was selected to be a model in the fashion show, and Patricia was in charge of everything. I mean, right? Am I right, Patricia? You were in charge of everything. You were juggling so many things. It was at this gorgeous venue, and you were showcasing so many designers and boutiques, and you were just the master of it all. I mean, talk about it was chaos, but it was organized. And Patricia didn't even break a sweat.
Yes, I created Mainline Fashion Week, and we did that for many years. I had a group of ladies that helped me with it. It was a great way to spotlight local fashion and celebrate some of my local favorite businesses.
That's awesome. I know. And it was really so much fun. I don't know if anybody has had the opportunity to witness Mainline Fashion Week, but it's really, really nice because you're right. It does showcase local businesses. And you always get to learn something new. I was able to learn about all these incredible boutiques, and I love small business owners. I love boutiques. I love shopping online, but there's nothing like going in a store and trying it on. So I was able to I was introduced to so many that are still in business to this day. So, but anyway, Patricia, let's talk about the all things preppy. So where did that come from, and how did it become your brand?
Yeah, so I have always loved shopping, which I think that's where it's rooted from. Every Saturday, my mom and grandmother and I, as a little kid, would go shopping. And I really feel like I got my sense of style from them. My mom always dressed me in like the cutest Rothschild jackets. And so, really classic, colorful, and preppy. Then, when came time for college, I went to Immaculata University, where I studied fashion merchandising, but also communications PR. And after graduation, then I worked at a PR firm in Philadelphia, and it was actually a liquor company. So I
Mhm.
started freelancing on the side with more clothing and jewelry brands, and eventually started my own business, Peaked PR, then with those clients.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent. So it just kind of evolved,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
I think it evolved over the years. My time in high school was when Gossip Girl and the OC and all of
Mhm.
that came out on TV. So I feel like also that influenced my style a little bit. Is that classic, preppy, colorful, mixing prints, all of that.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent. So, please, Randy.
I wore my pink jacket for
I love
like
that.
that.
Thank you. I am definitely a pink girl.
Not too many opportunities to wear pink as a man. So
That's true. Well, you wear it well.
thank you.
You wear it well. So, Patricia, you are also, I mean, you're very busy. So
Yeah,
but we like, right? We like being busy. So you're very busy.
exactly.
So you are a pro at hosting your own podcast yourself. So now you're on the other end today, but tell us more about your podcast.
Yeah, so I started the Preppy Podcast, which is my podcast, and I say it's I interview the brands, businesses, and influencers who are keeping the modern preppy lifestyle alive. And I started that in spring of 2020, actually, because, as I said, I work in PR, I work with a lot of small businesses and brands. And during that time, I saw a bunch of them obviously struggling with the pandemic and the shutdowns and all of that. And I have a lot of friends that own their own brands. So this was my way to sort of, I feel like, help them and share their story. I've had a blog since in high school or college for a very
Mm.
long time, on and off though throughout those years. But one thing I've always done on that blog was interview businesses and brands to learn more about them because I just love entrepreneurship. So I had toyed with this idea for a while of a podcast, but then 2020 kind of put the fire under my buns to get it started and figure it out. So yeah, I launched in spring of 2020, and it's become quite popular. I love featuring all these different entrepreneurs and sharing their story and their struggles and their journey of where they got to where they are today.
And it's important to share those stories. I really do believe that it's so imperative because you never know who you will inspire. And there's always, hurdles that we all face as entrepreneurs. And I'm sure you can relate to this, Randy,
Yeah.
that, as a business owner and an entrepreneur, that there's always hurdles that you encounter. And sometimes hearing other people's stories is that extra motivation that you need to keep going.
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah,
correct?
especially during COVID.
Oh,
I
yes.
think COVID changed everything,
Mm.
really.
It
And
did. It did.
it's a shame, like it affects all businesses and especially small businesses.
Hmm.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So let's talk about your influencer role because you do have a major presence on social media with, is it 19 over almost 20K followers, almost
Yes.
20,000. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot for us, right, Randy?
Right. Oh
That's
yeah.
a lot. It seems like that's an organic following because you have been working so hard with your blog and being your authentic self and making sure you're showcasing so many entrepreneurs and small businesses and being involved in the community. So I know, and I can say that I've watched you grow,
Yeah.
and that's an authentic following and very organic. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about your experience as a lifestyle influencer.
Yeah. So, like I said, I have had a blog of some sort since really high school and college and continue to grow that throughout the years. I did it more as a business strategy.
Mm,
I have so many friends that want to just be a full-time influencer, and that's not necessarily my case. I just love the creativity that comes along with being an influencer and having a blog. And it's a great business strategy, honestly. Anyone who has a business listening here, nowadays influencers are even the business owners behind the brands. The face behind the brands is such a thing. So I suggest anyone out there with a business, I'm sure many of them already have social media and Facebook and Instagram and all of that, but are you actually putting your face out there, or is it just you showing pictures of products? I think it's a really smart move to position yourself as an influencer no matter what you do. And with my Instagram accounts and social media following, it's kind of organic. Like you said, I post things that I really love and genuinely use in my daily life. And I've turned down things if it's not a fit
mhm,
for me and if it feels, not right and organic. And I think really the thing to help you grow is consistency, like showing up,
mhm.
whether you're doing blog posts a couple times a week or posting every day or every other day. You just want to be consistent on the platform because then your followers know that they can look for you there.
That is so important. She hit the nail on the head.
Yep.
Consistency is key. I mean, it's so true in anything that you do, but
Yeah.
it's also building that trust with your
Yeah.
followers.
Right.
And it's important to do that because anybody can be an influencer, but who is going to really be an influencer we can trust?
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
important. That has good information, valuable information that we could utilize and then we can apply in our everyday life. So
Yeah.
Consistent.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So if you were to give advice to a future, let's say, influencer, what piece of advice would you give them? Obviously being, consistent, but what
Yeah.
piece of advice would you give them just starting up?
So I would say, today you can't just have Instagram. You can't start with just an Instagram and that's your sole place where you're putting out content. You don't own Instagram. You don't own the followers on there that you work so hard to achieve. So you need something that you own and have for yourself. So whether that's a blog or it's an email newsletter, maybe something where you're keeping in contact with people or people can know to go to that place to find more information on you or to shop products or whatever it may be. You just can't solely rely on social media these days because everything, I mean, a lot of us struggle today with the algorithm. It's changed and it's harder to get likes and
Mhm.
people to see your content. So, really, my biggest advice is to make sure that if you're putting so much effort and time into beautiful pictures or discovering these cool new products and brands and sharing them, make sure you're doing it somewhere else too with a platform that you have more control over and own.
That's so, so important. And I didn't even think of that. You don't own the followers on Instagram. You're right.
Yeah.
You don't. And we put well, not, we don't have to say we, but so many people do put so much
Hmm.
emphasis on the followers. And I've learned through the years, and this may take a little practice, and it did take practice for me, that I don't focus so much on the followers. I focus on the content and what I'm putting out there and making sure that it stays in line with my values. It stays in line with who I am and representing who I am, because we all know that Instagram is like the highlight reel,
Yeah.
right? It's like the highlight reel. But I always try to keep in mind that you can't put all this emphasis on followers because you're right. You don't own them.
Yeah, exactly. So really make sure that you're posting and you're putting your content out there in some other
Mhm.
way too. And I like what you said is showing up, consistently in what's organic to you because you need to serve a purpose to your audience or to your readers or to your shoppers. So what can they come to you for and know that you'll always have that? Like for me, it's prints, it's colorful,
Mhm.
bright colors, whether that's in my clothes or in my interiors of my home. They know that they can come to me for like classic preppy brands. So figure out like your niche in the market too. And you can stray from that a little bit, but like you said, kind of try to stay consistent to what it is, and people will know that's why they follow you.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
You own a PR company, which we mentioned earlier. Let's tell our listeners a little bit about that and what work you do.
Yeah, so I own Peaked PR. I've been in business probably 10 years now, around there at least. And with that, I work with a lot of lifestyle brands. So I work with jewelry designers, clothing designers, home decor brands, even a liquor company again, which brings it full circle in my PR world because that's how I started in the industry.
Mhm.
But they're all lifestyle brands. They're products and businesses that I genuinely love and I shop myself. These are some clients of mine actually on this collage here that I work with. And basically, I do traditional PR. So I work with my clients and I get them featured in Oprah Magazine or Southern Living or Real Simple, all sorts of publications like that. My job is to pitch products or um, story angles of my clients to those editors and writers at those publications and then have them feature it. I also do a lot of events with clients. So I was just in Birmingham, Alabama, where I hosted an editor and influencer dinner for clients.
Very
Um,
neat.
Wow.
yes.
No
And
big, no
then,
big deal, by the way. No big
yeah.
deal.
And with that too, I do a lot of influencer work. So I reach out to influencers and get them my clients' products. That way they feature it. And with that, I've gotten to work with a lot of housewives or like those sorts of celebrities. I was just in California, in Malibu for Kathy Hilton, hosted a baby shower for Tessa Hilton. So I get to do some cool things with that with my clients.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
some cool things. It seems like
Wow.
really cool things. But that's neat because then you have all these wonderful stories to talk about on your podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
that's really, really good content right there. So everything is coming full circle for you, which I love.
Mhm.
But you've been so consistent. Going back to the word consistent, you've been so consistent in what you've been doing with your passion, and you've been working so hard for it for such a long time. It's not like you just woke up today or
Oh,
yesterday
yeah.
and said, "I'm going to do this." You've been doing this for such a long time, and I know because I've watched you grow.
Yeah.
But that's really neat that you can say that you've worked with so many celebrities and influential people throughout not just the area, but throughout the country.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I've had so much fun doing it, and like you said, it's not an overnight success sort of thing. I don't think really any business is like that, honestly. It might seem like it on that
And
highlight
it's
reel
not.
on Instagram, but it's not. So it's been, a lot of when I was working at an agency, I was working weekends and nights to start my own business. And then even still today, there's some I had to do a lot of events. So it's weekends, it's nights. Right now we're in the busy season of holiday pitching. So I'm
Mm.
doing tons of emails to editors at this time to get my clients featured in the big holiday issues of publications like Oprah's favorite things list and all of that.
Wow.
Oh, that's exciting. So I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this. Are
Yeah.
you allowed to share with us like maybe some of your favorite clients or the neatest clients you've ever worked with, other than obviously the Hiltons and the Housewives?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some clients that might people listening might know is Lacey Lurch, just because she's based actually in Newtown Square, but she has a national jewelry brand that you
Mm.
can shop all over the country, and she has a huge following of 80,000 or more followers at this point on Instagram. And she's been a fun client because I've really been in with her since I started my business essentially. So I've created her following from nothing. I created her Instagram and now to see where it is today. So she's a great client, but I work with a ton of other great ones like June St. George, which is custom rugs and pillows, or Honey
Mm.
and Hank, which has a really unique home decor, Canvas Style, another jewelry brand found across the country. There's just so many, and I'm so lucky to work with such great businesses and great entrepreneurs and people that I look up to even in their business.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. That's impressive. But you've again earned that. You've worked
Yeah.
so hard where you have clients of this caliber, and it
Hmm.
shows. It shows in your work, and I love that you're helping others build their brand and
Yeah.
better. And that's
Yeah.
and that's why they come to you because you're
Ex-
helping them build their brand and help their brand be better.
Business,
exactly. And that was, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Randy.
sorry.
Mhm.
Business sort of evolution, right? You
Mhm.
start in one place, and if you're smart, you evolve, and it ends up somewhere else, right? So it's hard work and showing up, right?
Yep. And a lot of pivoting. I feel like that's such a buzzword these days, but it's true. Nothing really goes as planned, and you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to pivot and go wherever you need to or do whatever you need to at certain times because something that you think might work might end up not working, and something else that you didn't think would be a hit is a hit.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
true. And flexibility is key too, because you have a plan in place, right? You have a business plan in place.
Yeah.
Or a marketing plan in place, and everything is off. You have to be able to be flexible and bend to
Yep.
adapt to what, the case is, what is happening or what cards that were dealt. So it's very, very important to stay flexible and be able to bend as you continue to thrive and grow in your everyday, whatever career or your personal brand, personal or business brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to touch on this because I think I know about table settings. A little bit about table settings. What do you think, Randy? I know a little bit about table settings because of my restaurant background, but I've never heard of the word tablescapes. So for our listeners that are tuning in, maybe they've heard of it, maybe they haven't. So you create amazing tablescapes and party experiences. So let's dissect that. What is a tablescape? And tell us about the party experiences that you create.
Yeah, so a tablescape is really, a table setting. It's just a fancy, fun way of saying it, and maybe it's just slightly elevated.
I love it.
And I've loved entertaining really since I bought my house years and years ago. Is when I got super into entertaining, and obviously I do some events with my job and business, and got to go to so many amazing events too to learn these sorts of crafts. But with a good tablescape, I mean, it's really about mixing. So here you can see I mix different patterns. It's about mixing colors. It's about having fun. It's mixing highs and lows. So a lot of times I'll use some antique plates or maybe antique vases, and I'll mix them with, silverware that I got on Amazon or something. It's mixing and matching, whether it's colors or old versus new or different prints. And also highs and lows. So, something affordable and maybe something a little bit more splurge worthy. I think a lot of people love cooking for guests, and that's a way to welcome them into their home and show love. I'm not a good cook. You do not want me cooking for you. So instead, I'm great at setting a table or decorating, and my fiance is a good cook. So that's how I like to share my love and, welcome people into the home.
Yes. Oh, go back to that photo. We need to highlight that photo. It's one of my favorite photos. I think that out of all the pic collage that we have, because you were featured on Fox 29 News, which is such a big deal.
Yeah.
So what were you there for? What were they featuring, or what were they interviewing you on?
Yeah, so I actually do a lot of local segments, mostly lifestyle stuff. So I'll share, fall trends, let's say, or tablescape tips, or ideas for hosting Labor Day parties, let's say. This example right here was specifically Prime Day with Amazon. And that was a unique experience because they had me there all morning during the morning segment from like 6 to 10 a.m. And I was sharing Prime Day deals that I kept finding throughout the segment. So that was really unique and a different experience.
Yeah, something different, right?
Yeah.
But that's good because then you were able to give something different and offer something different to the viewers and the listeners. And that sets you apart from everybody else. So I'm sure that was a fun and interesting day, right?
Exactly. And my philosophy with business and life is like, say yes and figure it out later. And I know that you guys are, entrepreneurs and busy people too. And that's a lot of what it is. You got to take experiences and opportunities as you get them.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Very, very true. Well, so you mentioned it, and now it brought me to the next question. You said your fiance. So
Yes.
you are getting married soon, which we are very, very excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
when is the big day?
So September 17th. So we are less than a month away now, which is just so crazy to me. But I'm so excited and I just can't wait to obviously marry Will. We've been together for many years now and we got engaged this past Christmas time. And I've had so much fun even working with Curry leading up to the wedding. Melissa does my hair there at the Glen Mills location. So getting all my beauty ready for the big day and making sure my hair is great and, facials. And even I love Sean at Glen Mills too for massages to help relax. I went in there a few weeks ago and he's like, wow, you have a lot of knots in your back. And I'm like, I've been very stressed.
just a little bit, right?
Yes,
With everything that
exactly.
you're doing, which by the way, you are doing a lot, which is good. We like being busy, right?
Yes.
But on top of that, planning a wedding, which is right around the corner.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I didn't think I realized how much work went into doing weddings. I don't have a wedding planner. I have 2 day of coordinators. I'm working with Events by Renee for that. But I just do so many events, for work, and I love entertaining. So I was like, I've got this planning thing. It's going to be easy. And it might have bit off a little bit more than I could chew. It's a lot. It's a lot of tiny details.
I was just going to ask how you've been handling it, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, it's a little different when you're the bride.
Exactly. And it's the little tedious things like the schedules and
Mm.
making sure vendors get everything they need. And that's not my forte, is those little things like schedules and timelines.
But you're learning and you're growing your
Yeah.
resume, which leads me to my next question. Do you help plan weddings or baby showers or bridal showers or
I
engagement parties?
Yeah, so it's funny. I have done social media for weddings. People have
Mhm.
hired me to take the social media pictures, not the professional ones, obviously, but they want the behind the scenes and the iPhone pictures, and kind of that way so that their guests wouldn't take them and the guests could just relax and be in the moment. So I have been hired to do that before, and I've been hired to plan smaller parties. I would not recommend. I don't think I want to get in the wedding planning business, but I've done, baby showers or just little birthday parties, things like that.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we have a question from Freddie
Yeah.
Fashion. What are some of the do's and don'ts? So I'm going to I'm going to go off of the do's and don'ts, maybe for planning, maybe party planning. We'll go with
Okay.
that. We'll say that's what Freddie Fashion is referring to. What are some of the do's and don'ts?
So, like I said, I am not a good cook. So, I think a big thing with parties is delegate where you need to.
Mhm.
So, if you're not a good cook, or maybe you're just someone that is more stressful when cooking, then delegate that. Like, hire a caterer, hire someone to do that for you. I even love delegating. Like, I don't want to deal with my hair and makeup the same day too.
Mm,
I go to Curry and get my hair and makeup done.
I
That
see.
way, that way I can come and I'm ready to entertain, and I just feel beautiful. I'm more relaxed that way. I would also suggest inviting your best friend over a little bit before the party, like a half hour to an hour before. That way they can help you with any of the last minute details. And also they can have a cocktail with you to relax and just like be ready to welcome guests. Um, don't, like I said, recognize where your strong suits are and where your weaknesses are and delegate where you need to. Um, I also think going in ahead of time with who's going to get along with who, or who you want to introduce to people and why. So
mhm.
maybe, two of my friends have mini dachshunds. And when they didn't know each other before, I made a point to introduce them and let them know that they both have the same kind of dog and they love their dogs.
Yeah.
So think about those things that make guests feel really welcome.
Right, right. No, and it's so important that you're thinking 2 steps ahead, which I
Yeah.
think is important. So let's talk about ways people can follow you, contact you, and connect with you. I know you have a few different Instagram handles. So let's go through all of them and making sure if people wanted to hire you for an event or they wanted to consult with you, whatever it may be, just to take advantage of your services. Why don't you share with our listeners your Instagram handles and ways they can contact you?
Yeah, so the main Instagram, I would say the best place to start is at Preppy Publicist. That is the one that I post on the most and kind of has a little bit of everything. Then besides that, there's at the Preppy Podcast, which is where I post the weekly episodes to the podcast, and more of the podcast things. So we're gonna have a summer sale coming up with 30% off the podcast merch. So you can follow at the Preppy Podcast for that. Then my PR business is at Peaked PR. And that's really where I post about my clients that I work with, about the press that I've done them, about events that I've done with work. So those are all my handles. You can follow along any of those.
Wow.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Randy, did you have any other questions before I dive
Not,
into the last one?
not so much questions, like comments. I think you have done a good job at preparing for the wedding day, based on like facials and massages. And I think many people don't take advantage of all the services that you could leading up to your wedding and making sure your skin is beautiful and
Mhm.
you're relaxed and you're enjoying the perfect day. Sometimes people are so stressed out. We see brides all the time that
Mm.
they're so stressed they don't even enjoy the day. So I hats off to you for preparing for the wedding.
Yeah,
And
and like I
using
said,
curry as
Sean's
well.
great. Yeah, Sean is my go-to whenever I'm stressed. He's great there at through Glen Mills,
Yeah.
and I'm excited. I haven't been to the Wilmington, the DuPont location yet, but all of our guests are staying at Hotel DuPont. And for my rehearsal dinner, getting my hair and makeup done right at that salon. So I'm excited to see this
Oh,
beautiful green wall.
yeah.
Oh yes, isn't it so beautiful?
Yeah.
So
You see
cool.
it, right? It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And this was not created for the podcast.
Yeah.
This was already in the salon. The salon itself is absolutely spectacular. Just the history behind the building itself
Mhm.
and the architecture, but just what Randy and his team have done here, it's absolutely magnificent. So, if anyone is listening, you have to come check out the DuPont location of Curly Hair Skin and Nails. It's so beautiful. Obviously, take advantage of all the services, but it's really, really beautiful. And it's a sight to see.
And the podcast Pronto came together like all like the backgrounds and Vincenza and Ken and everything that we needed to create a podcast, suddenly appeared.
I
Yep.
love that.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's usually how it works, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything falls into place as it should be. But anyway, so Patricia, we always like to end our podcast with a traditional question. Now it's a tradition we've created, and we always like to ask our guests this at the end. So if you could chat with anyone, past or present, on a podcast, who would it be and why?
So this was a hard one. I'm thinking about it, but I would say probably Audrey Hepburn. She comes
Mm.
first to mind just because I have loved her since I was younger. I've watched old movies with my mom growing up, and I really have just always been obsessed with her. I think she's so classic, and she's also a great humanitarian. I did a lot of projects and read a lot of books on her, I remember. And she was involved with UNICEF a lot, and she lived during the German occupation, but she wasn't Jewish, and I know she like grew up with a lot of guilt because of that, and that's why she was part of UNICEF. So I just feel like she has so many stories and such a great human to the core, and obviously the style, and she's iconic. So I think
Mhm.
she'd be an awesome person to talk to on a podcast.
Do you have a favorite movie?
Okay, so obviously Breakfast at Tiffany's is a great Audrey Hepburn movie. I feel like everyone knows that, and I just watched it again the other night actually. But I do love How to Steal a Million. I don't know if you've watched that. But
Oh, I don't
that
think
is
I
a
have
really
watched that
cool one.
one. I have to
I
add
That's
that one
my
to the
favorite.
list. I thought
Yes.
I've watched every Audrey Hepburn movie. Clearly, I haven't because I don't think I've watched that one. My favorite one is My Fair Lady.
Yes.
I love that
That one's
one.
good too.
These all the dresses and I
Mhm.
love what just the storyline. It's so fun. But I love that you selected Audrey
Yeah,
Hepburn.
me too.
She's timeless.
Yeah.
Right, her look, her image, her style, yes, iconic, but just timeless. And
Yeah.
I think that's so fitting for you, Patricia. Really, it's
Thank
so
you.
fitting for you. But we are coming to an end on the
Oh,
podcast. And we are so grateful you took time out of your very busy schedule,
Yes,
because we
thank
know it's
you.
busy planning a wedding and everything you're doing, to jump on Pronto with us and chat with us and share a little bit about what you're doing. And we appreciate everything you're doing. And I will be seeing you soon.
yes.
I was sharing with Randy before we started that I was selected to be a model for one of the local boutiques in the main line, Posh
Mhm.
Boutique. And so I was very excited that because of Patricia making the connection, I was able to be selected as a model for them. So I will be seeing Patricia next week. But
Yes.
Patricia, thanks again
Yeah,
for
thank you,
joining
Patricia.
us,
Thank
and good
you.
luck with the wedding
Yeah,
plans.
Thank
maybe
you so much.
after the wedding.
That would be so fun. We can chat all things wedding then and talk
Yeah.
about how everything went.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Oh, isn't she
Yeah.
amazing?
Amazing.
Right? I
Yeah.
always enjoyed catching up with Patricia. I mean, it's been a little while. I think the pandemic kind of delayed everything and kind of put a pause, press the pause button on everything.
Yeah.
But I have always enjoyed catching up with her or bumping into her or working with her because, one, she's so organized, and I love individuals who are very organized. It's something that I gravitate towards. So I was very excited that as we were having her on the show. So thanks again, Patricia, and make sure you follow her on all of her social media handles. I know she has 3 different ones, so make sure you tune in to follow her.
I think she's consistent with her brand, and I think that's so important. Like
Mhm.
many people have a brand and they jump back and forth, and you don't really know what their brand is
Mm-hmm.
because it's so diluted. She's one that's really dresses the part,
Right.
looks the part, talks the part. Like
yeah.
you know,
Yep. No, it's very, very true. She is definitely leads by example.
Yeah.
Right. She leads by example. So we have another question, and I think this one is for you, Randy. So how many locations are there for Curry Hair Skin and Nails, and any near KOP?
We have 5 locations.
Okay.
Glen Mills is our largest location, 9,000 some square feet. And we have a location in Kennett Square and one in Wayne, right off the 30. And then 2 locations in Delaware, at DuPont Building, and then Justice and Landing and Riverfront. And,
maybe a 6th one coming up soon.
You never know.
You never know, right? We'll manifest that. We'll speak that into existence. You never know.
I think the podcast is going to be forcing me to open
up another one. Oh, in New York. Oh, that's a good
I'm
idea.
gonna shoot for the stars.
That's right. We always dream big. I'm a big dreamer. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a big dreamer, and I always say dream big, have goals set, whether they're short-term goals or long-term goals, but write them down and post them up somewhere. Maybe put them on a little post-it note and put it right near your mirror where you brush your teeth every day, and something that during your everyday routine that you pass by your goals. Because if you don't start checking, going down the list and checking off the little ones, you won't continue to move to the next step. And I truly believe it's very rewarding when you write down a goal, whether it's a short-term goal or long-term goal, and achieve it.
Yeah. And through your experiences too, like you have to enjoy the ride.
Yes.
Just not achieve goals, like enjoy the ride to get to the goal. I think that's really important.
Exactly. It's very, 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 very important to enjoy the ride. And what they say, it's all about the journey versus the destination. So it's very, very true. And I say that often, but I think it's important to reiterate that as you continue to grow and as you continue to thrive in your everyday career, that you remind yourself that it's all about the journey versus the destination.
Yep.
So, oh my goodness. Well, Randy, 3rd episode in the books. Another great guest. We were so excited to meet with or chat with Patricia Mae Maristch from the Preppy Podcast and Peaked PR. So thanks again, Patricia. And thank you everyone for joining us. And make sure you stay tuned for episode 4.
And
wow!
Thank you for really going through the podcast, and you're excellent. And thank you for giving us the pageant girls. And
oh my gosh, of course. I always like to share my experiences, and the pageant world is a big part of my journey. And I think it's important to share that, because we're going back to, you never know who you will inspire. And whether it is a pageant girl or an entrepreneur or a restaurateur or someone that's diving into the beauty business or the PR business, whatever it may be, we are inspiring someone. And I love to share experiences and life experiences, because it's important to share those stories. Plus, we never stop learning, right, Randy? No matter what age, you never stop learning. So with that said, pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Vincenza.